Welcome. My name is Karen Gans, and I'm the Program Collaboration and Operations Manager with ECAP at the Department of Early Learning. The webinars in this series are intended for new directors or contractors implementing ECAP. These webinars are not required, however, they are strongly recommended and will help orient you to your work with ECAP. Additional webinars on a variety of topics will be posted on our website throughout the year as they become available. This first webinar will provide a broad overview of ECAP, information about the history of ECAP, comprehensive services, and information about supports available to you. Other webinars will include information about enrollment and eligibility, reporting requirements for our Early Learning Management System, or ELMS, fiscal resources, and an overview of the contract and performance standards. I'm going to take a moment to provide a brief overview of the services the Department of Early Learning provides. On the screen now is a snapshot of the work that happens at Dell. Department of Early Learning is the newest state agency and celebrated its 10-year anniversary in 2016. Dell is a cabinet-level agency. This means that Director Russ Hunter sits on the governor's cabinet. Dell has 4 main areas of work, and I'm going to start on the left with the Quality Practice and Professional Growth Division. This division is where ECAP sits. So ECAP is in the QPPG division along with our Race to the Top work, Early Achievers, and our QRIS system, our WAKIDS work, our PK through 3rd grade alignment work, and where the infant toddler consultation sits as well, among others that are listed there. Other Dell divisions are communications and government relations, which includes community relations, communications, government relations, and external partnerships. Partnerships and collaboration is another division within the Department of Early Learning, and some of the programs that are within that division include Strengthening Families Washington, the EFIT program, our home visiting work, our Head Start State Collaboration Office, and our Healthiest Next Generation work, as well as our Tribal Liaison. And then the last division is licensing and oversight. This includes licensing, background checks, and the alignment work that's currently happening at the Department of Early Learning. Other areas of work at Dell also include communications, human resources, our financial office, and IT. ECAP, which is overseen by the Department of Early Learning, is Washington's pre-kindergarten program that prepares 3- and 4-year-old children from low-income families for success in school and life. In 1985, the state legislature established the ECAP program. Recommended by the Washington Business Roundtable and shepherded into existence by former Governor Booth Gardner, Washington created one of the first state-funded pre-kindergarten programs in the nation. Those who were part of this beginning work wanted to extend the benefits of the federal Head Start program to more Washington children. Their goal was to support the healthy development and future success of low-income 3- and 4-year-olds. By 1987, ECAP was funded with over 4,000 slots. A retrospective evaluation completed by the Washington State Institute for Public Policy showed that children who participated in ECAP had significantly higher math and reading test scores in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades than similar children who did not participate. They also found that ECAP's impact on test scores is almost twice as large as the average effect they found when they reviewed research on early learning childhood programs in other states. ECAP also received 9 out of 10 quality points from the National Institute for Early Education Research, or NIER, for our state's early learning guidelines, comprehensive family support, health coordination services, the early childhood education, training requirement for teachers and assistant teachers, our class size requirements, the staff-to-child ratios, meals, and Dell's monitoring of program quality. To get the 10th quality point, we would need to require lead teachers to have a bachelor's degree, and currently that is not a requirement. In the 2016-17 school year, ECAP is funded by the legislature for 11,691 slots for children. ECAP is operated by 55 contractors around the state. Contractors are the organizations that receive funds and guidance directly from the Department of Early Learning to implement ECAP. Currently, contractors include school districts, educational service districts, local governments, county agencies, nonprofit organizations, Head Start grantees, community colleges, community action agencies, child care centers, and family home child care providers. ECAP is currently in 35 of the 39 counties around the state in more than 350 sites that house more than 800 classes. Here's a little deeper look at or a more specific look at where ECAP services occur. You can see a majority of the services occur in public school settings. They also occur in child care, faith-based facilities, Head Start facilities, and nonprofit organizations. At least 74 sites, or 20%, offer child care outside of ECAP class hours. ECAP communities. This communities slide shows us that most of the communities where ECAP locations are in urban settings. The Early Learning Management System, our database system, calculates the type of community for each ECAP site by zip code using the Federal Rural Urban Commuting Code classifications as adopted by the State Department of Health. There are currently 3 models of service that ECAP can provide to meet the needs of families and communities. On the left, we have Part Day slots. So child slots awarded prior to 2015 required a minimum of 2.5 hours per day, 320 hours per year spread over 30 weeks. Starting in 2015, when contractors received Part Day slots, so from 2015 on, the slots must be, for Part Day, must be a minimum of 3 hours per class session, 360 hours per year for 30 weeks a year. In 2014, a full day model was created. At full day model, the full day model sites provide services in an average of 6 hours per day, a minimum of 1,000 hours per year, and at least 4 days per week. Some of these sites are licensed, or they completed expedited licensing visits. The last model on the right is Extended Day. Extended Day was also created in 2014, and these sites provide services 10 or more hours per day, 5 days a week, year-round. These are all licensed sites. The goals of ECAP are to provide a comprehensive pre-kindergarten program that integrates education, family support, and health services, to foster the development of the whole child and enhance opportunities for success in school and in life, to focus on parent and family strengths and support each parent as their child's first and most important teacher and provider of safety, loving care, and stability. And then, in addition, to honor each family's culture and language and ensure culturally relevant services. So let's take a moment to talk more about that first goal listed on the last slide, comprehensive services. This means integrated high-quality preschool education, family support, parent involvement, and health and nutrition services. This comprehensive whole-child approach is based on well-researched programs that actually save states money by reducing special education and criminal justice costs and increasing high school graduation rates and future employment prospects. Washington State is one of the few state-funded pre-K programs with comprehensive services. So I'm going to start and talk a little bit about health coordination services, which is one part of the comprehensive services. These kinds of services include vision, hearing, and height and weight screenings, ensuring children have medical and dental homes, working with families to ensure that children's well child exams and dental screenings are up to date, and integrating health practices into the daily curricula, such as physical activity, hand washing, and toothbrushing. ECAP contractors provide nutritious meals. They work with families on needed health referrals, and they create individualized health plans for children who have chronic health conditions. Next is family partnerships, and this component of the comprehensive preschool approach includes partnering with parents in strengths-based approaches to assess the family's unique strengths and needs. The family support staff work with families throughout the year to support family goals. They help families to increase their knowledge of supports and strategies for self-sufficiency. They provide parent education opportunities inside and outside of their child's classroom, and they make sure that the families have opportunities to participate in leadership through various committees. The final piece of the comprehensive services work is the early childhood education component. And classrooms, ECAP classrooms support the whole child in physical, motor, cognitive, language, social, and emotional development. They make sure that they create developmentally appropriate curriculum that supports kindergarten readiness. They also make sure that this curriculum is informed by observational assessment of each child and that they include family input into the curriculum they create. ECAP classrooms have rich learning environments that reflect the daily life, family culture, and languages of enrolled children. Additionally, teachers provide periodic conferences for parents and children to share about children's growth and development. Here's a snapshot of some educational outcomes from the 2014-15 ECAP year. So ECAP children are assessed 3 times during the school year by their classroom teacher to track their different areas of the different areas that are listed here on this screen: social, emotional, physical, language, cognitive literacy, and math. Each ECAP contractor uses GOLD by Teaching Strategies, which is a valid and reliable observation assessment system. The percentages on this slide reflect the number of children at or above age level at the beginning of the school year, which is in red, and at the end of the school year, which is indicated in green on the slide. So you can see there are some great growth and outcomes that children experience educationally when they're in an ECAP program. On this slide, we see some health outcomes. These health outcomes are some highlights from the 2015-16 school year. And it includes all children enrolled in ECAP statewide for 120 days or more. Percentages reflect children with this characteristic at enrollment, which is in red, and at exit in green. So we can see here that while 8% of children come into ECAP services with no medical coverage, no one left ECAP services without medical coverage. And while 38% of children came to ECAP behind on their well child exams, only 9% were behind when they exited the program. We had 10% of families who had a child had no dental coverage, and there were 0 children who did not have dental coverage when they left ECAP services. You can see here in vision and hearing care that 206 children received vision care as a result of a screening, and 49 children received hearing care. And then on the far right, we had 402 children who received a mental health consultation while they participated in ECAP. This helps us know that we're making a significant impact on children's health and health care while they are in ECAP. So family support services with ECAP are based on the definitions listed here from our state statute. The last item, increasing self-reliance, prompted the state office to look a little more deeply into how we could increase services in that area, which resulted in a family support pilot that's now in its second year of implementation. We will be sharing more information at director meetings throughout the year around this important pilot work and the outcomes that we're seeing from this work. To be eligible for ECAP, children must be 3 or 4 years old and must meet one of the criteria you see here. Children are eligible if they're from a family at or below 110% of the federal poverty level. This means that a family of 4 for the 2016-17 school year would be making $26,730 per year. They are qualified by their school district for special education services, including all children on a school district individualized education program, or IEP. They're from a family that's not income eligible but is impacted by either developmental factors such as a developmental delay or a disability, but they're not currently on an IEP, or environmental factors like family violence, chemical dependency, or incarcerated parents. Children are also eligible for ECAP if they're receiving child protective services or family assessment response services. Once eligibility is determined, then contractors must prioritize the children on the wait list so that they ensure they're serving the most needy children and families in their community. So now I will take a moment to talk about prioritization. Currently, we don't have enough slots in ECAP for all eligible children. So this means that children are prioritized for enrollment based on a point system in ELMS. Highest priority is given to eligible children who are 4 years old, from the lowest income families, if they are experiencing homelessness, if they are in foster care, receiving CPS, ICW, or FAR services, and have multiple risk factors. DEL is currently in the process of conducting research to refine the priority point system. We're evaluating which risk factors most impact teaching strategies gold ratings at the time children start ECAP. We will have more information for you as we are able to gather more information and complete our research in this area. Here's a slide of who ECAP serves. You can see here that 63% of ECAP children are below 80% of the federal poverty limit, and that 33% of ECAP children are dual language learners. This slide shows child race and ethnicity of those receiving ECAP services, and you can see that about 37% of children receiving services are Hispanic, 38% are white, 9 are Black or African American, 8 are multiracial, 3% are Asian, 2% are American Indian Alaska Native, and 2% are Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander. And the rest are in our other category. Early Achievers connects families to early learning and care programs with the help of an easy-to-understand rating system. It offers coaching, professional development, and resources for providers to support each child's learning and development. All ECAP sites must attain a level 4 or 5 rating in the Early Achievers system. ECAP sites with child care licenses have 18 months to attain this level. All other ECAP sites must attain this level within 12 months of the beginning of beginning ECAP classes. You can see a majority of ECAP sites that have been rated a level 4. And I think it's worth noting that if you have a site that's unable to reach a level 4 or 5 rating by the established timelines, then the site is placed on a plan. The pre-K specialist assigned to work with you will walk you through this process. State law requires us to serve all eligible children whose families choose to participate by the 2020 to 2021 school year. Based on the forecast provided by the Caseload Forecast Council, it's looking like we're going to need about 7,500 more ECAP slots to meet this requirement. I'm now going to take a moment to briefly review the roles and responsibilities of an ECAP director. Please note that this is a brief overview and that we will provide more specific information to you throughout the year. It's important to have, as an ECAP director or a new contractor, it's important to have an understanding of the contract requirements and the ECAP performance standards. For performance standards, they're broken down into sections. And really, the Section A, which is administration, human resources, which is Section C, and G, record retention of our ECAP standards, are key areas for the director's role. You may also be responsible for the content sections if you don't have managers or coordinators responsible for certain content areas. This includes Section B, enrollment and eligibility, Section D, health, Section E, early childhood education, and Section F, family partnerships. ECAP contractors are required to follow the requirements outlined in the contract and the performance standards that I've just shared an overview of. It's important to familiarize yourself with these requirements. They can be found on the Department of Early Learning website at www.del.wa.gov. I'm going to take you there now to show you where you can find the standards, the sample contract and standards that we have posted. So here's the Department of Early Learning website, and down here on the left-hand corner is the ECAP tab. You open this tab, and that takes you to the ECAP contractors page. This is an important page for you to know about as a director or a new contractor. This is where we put all of our information that we want to share with directors and contractor staff. So if we scroll down here, you can see that we have information listed by different topic areas. And under regulations, there is a sample ECAP contract, related WACs, and our ECAP performance standards. If you have not already had the opportunity or taken the time to review these, this is going to be an important first step as a new director or contractor. In addition to knowing what's required, you also need to make sure that implementation of services is in compliance at all direct and subcontracted sites if you provide in addition to knowing what is required, you also need to make sure that implementation of services is in compliance at all direct and subcontracted sites if you have subcontracted sites. It's important to ensure that all staff are trained and knowledgeable on the ECAP standards and contract requirements. And you want to be asking yourself, what systems do you have set to ensure that your staff are providing accurate data to the Department of Early Learning, and that they're meeting the deadlines that have been set in the contract. New directors often let us know that there is a lot of information to sort through in the beginning. We understand this and encourage you to ask questions and ask for help when needed of the pre-K specialist that is assigned to work with you. What is ELMS? ELMS, as I said before, stands for the Early Learning Management System. It is the required data system for all ECAP contractors. ELMS is web-based. You can access it whenever and wherever you can get on the internet. It is built to support the ECAP performance standards, so it's easier for you to stay in compliance with program requirements. For example, it awards priority points based on child risk factors and manages a prioritized waiting list, so you can enroll the children most in need of ECAP. It helps you do complicated things like figuring out income when parents have joint custody. ELMS is part of the state's longitudinal data system. This means that it allows researchers to access de-identified data to see what happens with ECAP children in general as they move through the K-12 and higher education system and then into the workforce. ELMS helps us provide data for the governor's office, legislators, and other policymakers so they can make decisions affecting ECAP. For these reasons, it's really important that you make sure staff enter accurate data in ELMS. A more in-depth overview of ELMS will be coming soon as part and is part of the ELMS administrator trainings that occur in late summer and early fall. So now I want to take a moment to talk about what you can expect from your partnership with the Dell ECAP office. Now I'm going to take a moment to talk with you about what you can expect from a partnership with Dell ECAP. You can expect data collection for monitoring and reporting. We collect data for outcomes reporting and for responding to researchers and to ensure compliance is being met with your contract requirements. We collect this data through on-site monitoring, and on-site monitoring can include expedited license monitoring, partial and full on-site monitoring visits. When a contractor is due for an on-site monitoring visit, then the pre-K specialist who works with you will walk you through this process, let you know what to expect, ask for your input, and then try to create a schedule that works the best for you and for your staff. The other way that we collect data is through desktop monitoring. We collect the data that staff enter into the ELMS system and that staff enter into the TS Gold assessment system. We also collect data through fiscal reviews, and monitoring also includes your contract deliverables. Your contract deliverables are the required items that you must complete and turn into Dell by set due dates. This includes things like your self-assessment, your funding renewal application at the biennium, financial disclosure form each year, your service area agreements, and your TS Gold checkpoints, to name a few. The other thing that you can expect from your partnership with us is a strengths-based approach. We ask that you provide a strengths-based approach while you're working with children and families, and we strive to do the same thing with you. You can also expect team decision-making to occur. Sometimes you and your staff ask complicated questions, and when a pre-K specialist doesn't have current clarification on a specific question that may be asked, then that question is brought to the larger ECAP team, and then the team works to create clarification around the issue in a timely way. The other thing that you can expect from your partnership with us is technical assistance and training and support. Dell ECAP provides technical assistance and training around the contract and performance standards, early achievers, ELMS, Teaching Strategies Gold, just to name a few. We do this through scheduled in-person trainings. The in-person director meeting that is typically held each fall, plus 2 additional director webinars that are held usually in the winter and in the spring. We also do this through steering committee, which consists of 8 directors that represent ECAP contractors in the similar areas of the state. There's 1 representative and 1 alternate from each area. The goal of steering committee is to provide input to Dell on policies, procedure, and director meeting agendas. We also provide TA through monthly contractor calls. On these required monthly calls, the pre-K specialist conducts individualized phone calls with each contractor. Topics could include contract deliverables, ELMS, TS Gold information, information about early achievers, and upcoming trainings and resources. The other way that we provide some technical assistance is through the monthly ECAP newsletter to contractors that has news, technical assistance articles, and reminders and due dates in it. It's released close to the first day of each month and is intended to be a one-stop resource for contractors. I'm going to go back to the contractor page and show you where it's right under regulations, actually, where we just left, and is listed here, reminders and links. And we have reminders and links posted for the last year. Now I'll talk a little bit more specifically about what you can expect from your partnership with your pre-K specialist. Each contract is assigned to a pre-K specialist who is your point of contact. The pre-K specialist is the individual who will lead site visits at your sites. They'll hold monthly calls with you that I just talked about, those contractor calls, where they'll remind you of upcoming deliverables, provide any follow-up to previous questions you may have asked, and then share training and resource opportunities for your staff with you. Although they each have different areas of expertise, all of our pre-K specialists understand comprehensive pre-K programs at a managerial level. They know what it is like to deliver ECAP and Head Start types of programming. Dell ECAP staff are responsible for managing the ECAP contract and the Early Learning Management System, which is the ECAP database, which I've talked about before. This means that we support contractors in compliance with all of the ECAP contract provisions and performance standards. We monitor the contract provisions throughout the year, and we conduct daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly data monitoring and analysis through ELMS. This is the current ECAP team at the Department of Early Learning. We have 18 ECAP staff located in Olympia and around the state. Our management team includes our PK3 ECAP administrator, Kelly Bohannon, the collaboration and operations manager, Karen Gans, the monitoring and oversight manager, Karen Healy, and our data analyst, Joyce Kilmer. The data team designs enhancements for the ELMS system. They manage ELMS support and fixes when needed. They're primarily responsible for monitoring data reported through ELMS. They provide data to contractors, policymakers, and researchers, create reports, including our state saturation study and our annual outcomes report, and coordinate the ELMS to Gold data feed. They also are the folks who work with DSHS to provide DSHS client addresses for you to use when you are recruiting for families. Justin Chan is our program coordinator. He manages contracts, oversees the legislative session. He's currently working on our facility study as well. Kelsey Schaefer is our program planning and operational specialist. She approves vouchers for payment, coordinates fiscal reviews, and creates the annual calendar and work plan. Our administrative assistant is Svenja Hopkins, who responds to questions through the ECAP inbox and is responsible for much of our internal coordination. The pre-K specialist team are the main points of contact for contractors, so I'm going to take a moment to introduce you to each of them and find out the contractors that they support. First, we have Leah Capili. Leah works with Mid-Columbia Children's Council, ESD 112, EOCF, Innovative Services, Lower Columbia College, St. James Family Center, and the South Bend School District. Leah works out of the Olympia office, and Leah can be contacted at the email address provided here on the slide. Next is Julie Flores. Julie works out of our Yakima licensing office. She works with Inspire Development Centers, the Granger School District, the Wahluke School District, Catholic Family and Child Services, EPIC, ESD 105, and Selah School District. This is Peggy. Peggy's contractors are listed here. They include the Early Learning Childhood Development Resources Group, or ELCDR, OLICAP, the Suquamish Tribe, ESD 114, Kitsap Community Resources, the Lake Quinault, and Aberdeen School Districts. Peggy works out of the Bremerton office. And this is Sue Rose. Sue works out of the Olympia office, and the contractors she works with are Children's Home Society, Neighborhood House, the City of Seattle, Bellevue School District, Puget Sound ESD 121, and Tender Moments. Carrie Beamer works out of the Bellevue licensing office, and she works with OMAC School District, the Okanagan CDA Group, Manson School District, Bright Beginnings, Chelan Douglas, Centralia College, and ESD 113. Here's Nicole Lohr. Nicole Lohr works out of the Spokane licensing office with our contractors at ESD 123, Walla Walla Community Colleges, Walla Walla Public Schools, Kennewick, and Richland and Keona Benton School Districts. Here's Tracy Kenny. Tracy also works out of the Olympia office, and she works with Rural Resources, Central Valley School District, Community Colleges of Spokane, ESD 101, Community Child Care Centers, Lewis Clark Early Childhood Programs, and the Dayton School District. And now I'd like to introduce you to Kelly DeBoer. Kelly works out of Port Angeles. She works with San Juan County, Opportunity Council, Lummi Indian Business Council, Skagit Valley College, Skagit Island Head Start ECAP, Snohomish County, and Enchanted Little Forest. As a new director or contractor, we welcome you to ECAP. Remember that we see you as our partner in bringing high-quality, comprehensive preschool services to communities around the state. The pre-K specialist who works with you will let you know when new orientation webinars are posted to the Dell website. They will also let you know when the new director live webinars will be held. During these webinars, current ECAP directors will provide tips and suggestions for how they manage the ECAP contract. This completes this webinar. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact the pre-K specialist assigned to your contract or ECAP at the email address listed above. Thanks so much.